Have you ever wondered what makes someone truly honorable? Is it the strength of their arm, the sharpness of their blade, or something deeper? Imagine a world where warriors are buried standing upright in ice, their faces forever turned to the northern lights. Today, we're diving into a story from a frostbitten fjord, a tale of pride, power, and the search for redemption. This is the legend of Jarnolf the Proud and the Hammer of Hollow Honor. Stick around, because by the end, you might see honor in a whole new way. Before we begin, if you love stories of ancient warriors and timeless lessons, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Now, let's step into the icy winds of the north and meet our hero, or perhaps our cautionary tale. Our story begins in a village carved out of snow and stone, where the winters are long and the nights even longer. Here, every warrior dreams of leaving a mark, of being remembered in the songs sung around the fire. But none were as famous or as proud as Jarnolf. Jarnolf was not just a warrior. He was a blacksmith, a craftsman whose hands could bend iron as if it were clay. He spent years forging a weapon unlike any other, a hammer so heavy, so perfectly balanced, that it could shatter mountains. He named it Skjoldbrud, which means shield breaker. With Skjoldbrud in his grip, Jarnolf led his people to victory after victory. He became a legend, his name whispered with awe and a little bit of fear. But there was a problem. Jarnolf believed that only he was worthy of such power. He refused to let anyone else touch Skjoldbrud, not even his closest friends. He thought, if I share this, I lose what makes me special. The villagers respected him, but they also began to fear him. They wondered if Jarnolf cared more about his own glory than the safety of the village. Then, one winter, disaster struck. A rival clan, hungry and desperate, attacked the village. The snow was deep, the wind howled, and the villagers were caught off guard. They ran to Jarnolf, begging him to lead them with Skjoldbrud. But Jarnolf saw an opportunity. He stood before the shivering crowd and said, I will save you, but only if you name me your eternal chieftain. The villagers hesitated. They needed Jarnolf, but they didn't want to be ruled by pride. While they argued, the enemy broke through the defenses. Houses burned. Families were torn apart. By the time the fighting ended, the village was nearly destroyed. Jarnolf had saved a few, but at a terrible cost. The people looked at him not with gratitude, but with sorrow and anger. Jarnolf felt the weight of their stares. He realized that his pride had cost his people everything. Unable to face them, he wandered out into the frozen fjord, the wind biting at his skin. He walked until he could walk no more, surrounded by the icy graves of warriors who had come before him. There, in the silence, he saw a figure, his father's ghost. His father had died years ago, defending the village with nothing but a wooden club. Jarnolf fell to his knees. He whispered, Father, I have failed. The ghost looked at him with kind eyes and said, A weapon earns its name not in conquest, but in sacrifice. Jarnolf wept. He looked at Skjoldbrud, the hammer that had brought him fame and shame. He raised it high and brought it down on the ice, shattering it into a dozen pieces. With trembling hands, he gathered the shards and returned to his forge. He worked through the night, shaping each piece into a smaller hammer. When he was done, he called the children of the village to him. He gave each of them a hammer, saying, May you use this not for your own glory, but for the good of all. Jarnolf never sought praise again. He lived out his days quietly, helping where he could, teaching the young to build and to share. When he died, there was no grand funeral, no songs sung in his name, but the village thrived. The children grew up strong, each carrying a piece of Skjoldbrud and a lesson about what true honor means. Jarnolf's story became a quiet legend, told not to celebrate his strength, but to remember his change of heart. So, what can we learn from Jarnolf and the Hammer of Hollow Honor? It's easy to think that power is something to keep for ourselves, something that makes us special. But when we hoard what we have, we end up alone. When we share, we build something that lasts beyond our own lives. Jarnolf's greatest act wasn't he winning battles, it was giving away the very thing that made him famous. He turned his pride into redemption, and his weapon into a legacy. And that's a lesson we can all carry, whether we wield hammers or simply try to do good in our own small ways. If you've ever felt the urge to keep your talents to yourself, remember Jarnolf. Ask yourself, is it better to be remembered for what you kept, or for what you gave? Let me know in the comments, what would you have done in Jarnolf's place? Would you have shared the hammer, or held on to it? And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales from the frozen north and beyond. Thank you for joining me on this journey through ice, pride, and redemption. Remember, true honor isn't something you claim for yourself, it's something you share with others. Power kept to yourself fades away, but power given becomes a legacy that lives on. Until next time, keep your hearts warm, your hands open, and your stories alive. See you in the next video.